Hello, everyone. Engineer Wannabe here. Um, Hope you guys can hear me well. It's the first time I'm doing live feature on my channel. I've got my microphone here and all my watches, just in case I did a state of the collection. Oh wait, I don't have all my watches. I'm looking at one right now. But yeah, so I had, well, we're gonna do a, we were going to do a live stream with another channel, and that kind of fell through. So had a bit of time. Thought I put together some questions that a few people kind of consistently ask me, and I thought I would do that just because I had a bit of time that I had set aside. Take my glasses off. I had a bit of time I had set aside, and I could have edited a video, but I didn't feel like doing that. Uh, yeah, it's been a long week. Hey, Herb, good to see you. um, but yeah, let's go through some questions then. I will answer your questions soon, Herb. but yeah, okay. I'll start with how did I get into watches? I kind of answered this. Oh, by the way, check out Sha Luso. I don't know if you guys know Sha Luso. Um, Really cool channel. He invited me to come on, and we talked for a couple of hours about Seiko, Grand Seiko, and Oris. You should definitely go check out the two videos he has put out on Grand Seiko that we talked about. It was a great time. You guys would find it useful too. But I spoke a little bit about how I got into watches back there. But let's talk a bit about how that fully happened. So, going all the way back when I was a kid, my dad had a watch, a winding watch, an automatic, no, manual wind watch, a Rado. And I thought it was really cool that it didn't have a battery, even as a kid. One of my first memories that I can think of my dad is him sitting at the side of his bed, winding his watch and polishing his shoes. So that was my first introduction into mechanical watches, and that kind of went away pretty quick because I got into digital watches. There was a really cool Casio that a friend of mine had, and I actually nicked it. I took it. Um, not my most proudest moment, but I took it, and my parents found out. I had to return it, and my dad felt pretty bad that I had taken that watch, and he took me out with him on one of his expeditions. He was an electrician of sorts, so he had to go to different places. I'm from Sri Lanka, by the way. We had to travel out into the city to get parts, and he bought me a Casio F91W. So that is my first official watch, the Casio F91W. Um, and so yeah, I wore that watch until the strap broke. I never took it off, and then I moved on into smartwatches. And I, as soon as smartwatches became slightly viable, so the first smartwatch I had was the Sony Live View. I don't know if you guys even remember that, but I remember wearing that. It kept popping off its clip because you could clip it on different things, but it had like this little nylon strap, and you could pop it off and put it on other stuff. So yeah, got into smartwatches, kept sticking to smartwatches. Cutting the short, I had two children at that time, and I thought, hey, you know what? You're spending way too much money on smartwatches, upgrading and such. You should just get a Seiko, call it quits. uh, no, I didn't actually have a Seiko television watch. That would have been cool to have. But yeah, ironically, I was going to quit being so self-indulgent by getting a mechanical watch. That didn't go so well. So I got a Seiko, and I fell down the rabbit hole. That is how I got into mechanical watches. That was 3 years ago. Um, so yeah, that was it. My Grail watch, Herb. Let me answer your question. Ah, that's hard. I guess I'm a simple person. I try not to uh, really desire things that I can't get. But if I had to answer that question, I would say it would be an A Lange and Zone datograph, the gray dial. That would be really cool. But it's $100,000, I think. I don't even know what they go for right now. But um, I'm really satisfied right now with what I have, and the SBGY 003 was my Grail watch for a long time. Snowflake was my Grail watch for a long time, but now, yeah, uh, Alangenzona datograph. If I had to answer, but I I, I really wouldn't be upset if I couldn't get one. um, yeah. So if you guys have any other questions, throw it in there. I'm going to rattle through some of the other questions I have, and I thought I'd do a state of the collection live. Um, that would be another thing that a lot of people have been asking for lately. What's in my collection right now? So, okay, let's move on. Um, my favorite watch brands. I I guess it goes without saying, Seiko and Grand Seiko are my favorites. But there are more. I really, really like Omega. Omega is a brand I really enjoy. I just haven't found the right one I'd like to own. I think the Speedmaster is a bit too big. Um, I am cautiously optimistic. If to add some context, the Speedmaster isn't too big. The Speedmaster on the bracelet is a bit too big. Uh, hey Matthew, I will definitely answer that question. But yeah, so the Speedmaster on a bracelet is a bit too big. I would prefer to own the Speedmaster on a bracelet. I had the uh, first Omega workout either. I really wanted it on a beads of rice, and I couldn't. Couldn't get a satisfactory one. Of course, now ironically, I do have a really cool beads of rice bracelet from Forstner. They've since came out with it, but I don't have that first Omega in space. Now they've discontinued it, which is funny. Ha, Aquaterra. That's a good recommendation. It's been on my list for a while. Uh, but yeah, I am keen on the Aquaterra. Uh, so Omega, huge brand that I really like. I really like Tudor. As you guys may know, I do like Tudor. Again, really annoyed with the fact that I haven't been able to get a Black Bay 58 yet. I refuse to pay over list. For some reason in Toronto, it just seems to go over list. It's really hard to come by. Um, but eventually, one day, I'll get it back with 58. Alang Zona is a company I really like. Don't ever expect to own one. What else? I do like Oris. Oris is one of my favorites, all-time favorites. Um, had a bit of drama with Oris recently. I hope to put that behind me. But yeah, Oris Oris is a top. Um, Herb says my favorite Omega is the white bezel 2020 Olympics Seamaster. Ooh, that is very nice. That reminds me, I do have an Omega on in my crosshairs. It's the 39.5 Planet Ocean. I know, kind of boring, but the 39.5 millimeter Planet Ocean. I got to try it on for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Tried to make a deal with it. Didn't really work out. But I hope to get my hands on that again. I always thought the Planet Ocean was really heavy, really big. And once I got my hands on the 39.5 millimeter Planet Ocean, wow, that thing is nice. That thing is not too heavy. I think it's about the same weight as my Seiko Willard, Baby Willard X. It's about the same weight as that. So really, really excited about finding that. So that might have to place my want for a black T8 because it's good. Yeah. Um, moving on. Let me answer Matthew's question. How does the Grand Seiko SBGJ 201 wear? The thickness concerns me a little. I'm actually wearing it right. Oh, well, I was I was wearing it. I took it off because earlier I was wearing my Seiko, but I do have it here. It is thick, and it wears thick, but I'd say it's not as bad as you would think. Um, the way they polish the watch, it really disguises the way how thick it is. It actually, in a sense, feels kind of thin, but it feels like it's floating on your wrist because of that really high polished bit. That brushed bit takes your attention, and then you have the polished bits on top. Uh, I'd say it wears better than you would think. I think this is 14.5 millimeters. So a really thick watch for an everyday kind of dressy everyday kind of piece. But I would say, you really should try it out. It it does wear better than it looks, or on looks better than it looks on paper. Um, but yeah, the next video up on my channel is probably going to be the review on the SBGJ 201. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It's one of my keepers, so yeah, clearly the thickness um, does not bother me, and yeah, that's kind of across the board with most Grand Seikos, except for maybe their 44 millimeter GMTs. Those were really really big, but most Grand Seikos do wear smaller than their thickness dimension suggests. Perfect example is the SBG M221. Um, Barry, hi Barry. Thought of a quartz Grand Seiko. We'll answer soon. Uh, the SBG M221 has a round, thick case, so it is 14 millimeters thick, but it has a rounded case, and you would be shocked if you first wore that watch and then you saw the metric on the thickness. You would be shocked. It's really, it wears really thin. Barry, thought of a quartz Grand Seiko. I do have a quartz Grand Seiko. This is the SBGX 259 white dial quartz Grand Seiko. The most recent one that I've added. Um, Rom, good to see you, man. Spring drive. Is the spring drive technology patented? I don't know. Uh, I would assume so. I would think it's heavily patented. I would think there's maybe tens of patents on that technology. I don't know for sure if it's patented or not, though. I have not looked into that. Sorry, Rom. And they released that really insane quartz piece last year. Super, super rare, super thin, and was it accurate to like 1 second a year or something? Something insane. A force to be reckoned with for sure. Vladislav Kim, I hope I pronounced that right. How are you, man? Why not Rolex? Complicated answer. I really appreciate Rolex, and I do really like Rolex. Uh, why not Rolex? Probably because I often go to sketchy areas in near where I live, just to help out sometimes, and Rolex would be a big no-no. Very easily recognizable. That's that's one of the reasons. Another reason is again because they're so high profile. I would rather not wear them around. I would rather not wear that at work. Um, but I would own a Rolex. The one Rolex I would own is an Oyster Perpetual, especially the new 36 millimeter green dial. Oh, it's a really nice piece. I like that shade of green. Funnily enough, I did get a green watch recently, but I'll get into that in the state of the collection section of this live stream. Um, Barry says, "I've got the same SPGX 259." Congrats, man! It's a really cool watch. Underwhelmed by the bracelet. Hmm. So I have it on ostrich. Very cool. Feel they could have made the bracelet better. Yes, yes, I agree. I could have used a micro adjust point or two on this bracelet. It definitely could use some work. I do like the way it feels though. Um, I like how finely brushed the underside is. It actually feels like no other bracelet I have. Um, I mean, other than maybe a couple of Grand Seiko bracelets, but even those ones, this bracelet, this oyster style bracelet, mixed with this really nice case on the SPGX 259, there's something about it that makes it really comfortable for me personally. And I really like this bracelet, though it could be better. Absolutely, it could be better. Um, but this would be amazing on a strap. I am itching to take it off the bracelet at some point, put it on shell cordovan or ostrich. Ostrich sounds really good. Um, but yeah, that's a good combination. Good combination, Barry. Matthew Davis, what is your opinion on Glasuta Original as a brand, or Original? If I go full German there. I really like Glasuta. They are. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to Swiss and German brands, but I do really enjoy Glasuta. Seeing their movements, seeing their very well overbuilt. I think the most popular one right now is the CQ, right? Uh, yeah, that's the one that's been making its rounds. I really like seeing that watch, especially with the big date, the panorama date. Um, there's something about a panorama date that's really cool. Funnily enough, though, I used to really not like panorama dates. I used to think it looked cheap, but now I know better. But yeah, I don't know too much to talk about Glasuta exactly, but I think they're a well-respected brand. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to owning a Glasuta in the future. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I kind of forgot about Glasuta, so thanks, Matthew. Um, Herb says green is his choice on the new OP2. Yes, it's really nice. I actually bought a green. I might as well show it to you guys. It's still in its box. It's a Seiko, but I got the green sharp edge. Um, I did an unboxing on it, but I got it before the OPs came out, I think. Maybe around the same time, before they were announced. But yeah, there's something about that shade of green, right? The OP kind of has a similar shade of green, like a rich, dark forest green. I don't like the Hulk green, or the Hangang Oris green. It's kind of eye bleeding. But this dark, rich forest green is really nice. I enjoy it. Um, hey, Ed got a green dial Seiko SPB 155 Alpinist without the compass. That is a really nice Alpinist. Bob from Howard, he and I have a common opinion in the fact that we don't really like the green Alpinist, the original, not the original, but the SARB 017. Just something to do with the dial. It's kind of grainy and brushed at the same time. Just just kind of puts me off. But the new SPB 155 is really nice. It's a darker shade of green, and the green or the pebbliness is much more pronounced. And I think that looks really good. So the SPB 155 is a great choice. That's a very nice choice, Ed. Um, Herb says, "What Seiko would you recommend as a first watch?" Ooh, um, at I guess at a couple of budgets. It's hard to not. Yeah, I don't think I would recommend the SKX. But to a first time watch buyer, I don't think I'd recommend it, especially because the prices are going up. Um, First time watch buyer, I think it's hard to go wrong with the Seiko 5s, the older Seiko 5s. Those aren't too expensive right now. So there's that field watch, the SNK 855. It's been a while. But that would be a great watch to get into, mechanical watches. Um, hey, Miguel, good to see you, man. Uh, yeah, I love that SPB 143 that you have. Okay, so the next up for mid budget Seiko, it's really hard to go wrong with some of their dive watches. Say the Turtle or the Samurai. Samurai wears really well even on smaller wrists. Just the way that the lugs are angled, and it's a really cool watch. Very brutalistic, very aggressive. So Samurai would be an option for someone who's about to spend, like, I kind of work in Canadian dollars, so around 400 Canadian dollars. The Samurai would be cool. Going further up, the SARX 055 is a no-brainer. It's kind of big at almost 41 millimeters, but I would say the SARX 055, 057 are no-brainers. They're really, really good watches. Um, and I am surprised Seiko still sells them because they are such a good value, because of a decent movement, really amazing dial. The frosted dial is just stunning, and amazing finishing, titanium case, titanium bracelet, just really, really good stuff. And even further up, I would say, what Miguel has. If you want to go a bit higher, you're not getting as much value at this point when you get to the SPB 143, 145, 147, 149. But that 62 mass diver, even though I don't own one personally, that is probably one of my favorite watches of 2020, the SPB 143. So those are a few options, and then you keep going. You can keep going with Seiko. You can go up to the 4,000s, the 5,000s, the 6,000s, the 10,000s. So I don't think I'll go up that far, but those are a few options for you as a first watch. Thanks for the question. I forgot who asked that. Was that Herb? Um, Sorry, chat kind of went by. Um, Ed asked me if I ever thought about the Tudor Black Bay 58. Sorry, guys, if I missed a question, can you maybe type it up again? I feel like the chat moved on. I rambled on a bit too much there. I have thought about the Tudor Black Bay 58. I really want a Tudor Black Bay 58, but I can't get a Black Bay 58. It does wear kind of fat. Yes, I agree. Tudor watches do wear bigger than they should. The Tudor Black Bay, just their general one, not the 41. The 41 would be the bezel-less, but the Tudor Black Bay with the 41 millimeter case, just it wears like a 44, 43, 44. It's baffling. Really slab-sided case, wears really thick, wears really big, 50 millimeters lug to lug. It's really hard to pull off. So the Black Bay 58 kind of wears like that 40 millimeter watch, a typical 40, 41 millimeter watch. And I think it's the sweet spot. Yeah, can't get one. Can't get one in Toronto. So still waiting. At least I don't want to pay a premium. That's what I mean. Kind of want a deal if I do get a watch. Like, it's kind of in my blood. Matthew Faulkner calls me a legendary YouTuber. I'm no legend. I'm actually a nobody. Just a watch guy. Yes, I did mod that bracelet for the Longines sector dial. Again, I really wanted a beads of rice bracelet that that Guy Ferreras. I think I'm pronouncing that right, or Guy Ferreras. Gay Ferreras. That style beads of rice bracelet. This style beads of rice bracelet, but I couldn't get one, so I kind of got a 20 millimeter strap code engineer bracelet, and then I sanded it, filed it, polished it, tried to get it there. There's a video in my archive about it. And then, of course, Forstner releases this amazing bracelet. So much for that, right? But it was a fun project. Um, Next question. Jonathan, hey, good to see you, Jonathan. Hi, Engineer Wannabe. How about a GLC Master Control Ultra Thin at 34 millimeters? That would be really cool. I need to find an AD that, at least in my area. I guess something about myself, I don't like shopping online. I like trying stuff on. And that's really hindered what I can take a look at. And I don't have a good JLC dealer, at least that I made friends with. And I'd really like to see an ultra thin 34 millimeter master control. Funnily enough, I'm wearing a 34 mil watch right now. It's the Fuyugeshiki cocktail time. This is actually my wife's watch. It's kind of embarrassing, but it fits, right? I have a skinny wrist. My wife and I have the same wrist size, and yeah, makes my wrist look normal sized. So this is a 34 mil watch. I would absolutely love to wear a JLC 34 millimeter Master Control Ultra Thin. Uh, Barry, one brand I like is Glycine, namely the Airman. What a history! I think they fell off the grid a bit after the Invicta acquisition. Have got the blue dial GMT 18. Amazing pilot watch history. Yes, I've heard quite a bit about the Glycine Airman. I do really like the complication about how it has a 24-hour dial. Really cool watch, amazing history. Again, not well versed in that personally. There's a lot I have to learn, but from what I've heard, it's a really cool watch. Yeah, shame about the Invicta acquisition, but uh, they seem to be holding up, right? At least from what I've heard. Miguel, Miguel, what are you saying, Miguel? SNKL041, less than $100? Yes, yes, those are really cool watches. I guess I'm a bit behind. um, Seiko Turtle may be a good start for a first-time buyer, more unique case, still affordable and robust for different kinds of activities. Yes, definitely agreed. The really cool one is the King Turtle. Yeah, the King Turtle with the blue dial. Um, I really like that one. I owned it for a little bit. It was just a bit too big for me, and once the Willard X's were announced, it made owning that kind of redundant for me because I have a really tiny wrist, 16 centimeters. So kind of sad. Um, Miguel says there are still some SARB 33s and 35s out there. I didn't think of those actually. Thanks, Miguel. Yeah, those watches are still available. Amazon Canada had a really cool sale on the SARB 35 recently. It was 400 Canadian dollars for that. That's a good deal considering its inflated price right now. But it's back up to like $600 now, which is ridiculous. But yeah, still out there. Agree with the Seiko Patty. Have one, love the blue dial. Put it on a crafter rubber strap. Go for one, SoCal. Yes, it's a good idea. I still have to get into crafter. Those rubber straps look really good. Lucky Gold Panda, hey, how are you? Yeah, so a couple more questions and then I'll